The 10-minute drill.
This is a big one.
Covered by Universal Roof and Contracting. The difference is universal.
On 1010XL.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Hit it.
All right, some sports concepts and rationalizations coming your way. We call it the 10-minute drill. We do it each and every day. And we have a little prize pack to give away today. Beef, what are we handing out, friend?
We're going to make someone's day with a lovely floral arrangement that's going to be delivered to them by Kuhn Flowers.
Oh, wonderful. That's definitely going to make someone's day and make someone happy. Make someone happy. The Jags go up to Minnesota. Any reason for optimism, any reason to think this is where the streak ends?
Yeah, if that's what you want.
Oh.
Minnesota has played down to its competition. They were kind of lucky to beat Carolina last week. They've had tight games with lesser teams. They got blown out up there by Atlanta.
Dallas.
They lost to Dallas.
Yeah.
I mean, Dallas is not a ton better than the Jags when they went up there.
The only reason why I think there's not a chance is because it's the last stand for the Vikings.
No,
if they lose to the Jags, they're done.
I'm not saying I think the Jaguars are going to win.
Yeah.
But, it was last stand for the Vikings last week, and they had to pull a miracle out to get a last-second field goal.
That's true. They couldn't afford to lose last week.
They're a hard one to figure, man. Like you said yesterday, that combo of Thielen, Jefferson, and Dalvin Cook, they have a above-average quarterback in Kirk Cousins. Maybe in the offense has been the problem sometimes.
It's middle of the road. Yeah. It should be outstanding. That's my problem with
that's
Minnesota.
Strange. As I tend to do, I emotionally react initially to news as it settles. I'm not as invested in the emotion part of it.
Uh-huh.
So the only thing I'll say about the Jaguars, a quarterback decision by Doug Marrone is if you rank the court and whether you want them to win or lose or whatever the rationale is, if you ranked the quarterbacks on this roster in terms of the likelihood of their importance to you in the future.
Yeah.
Glennon would be third. And so we got 5 games left, a 30-something-year-old quarterback, a 10-year vet, hadn't played in 3 years, who has no bearing on the future of the franchise. Whether it's Gardner Minshew or Jake Luton, one of those two guys is much more likely than Glennon to be counted on in 2022 or whenever the case may be. So with that being the basis, having 5 games left to season and improve either one of those makes the call a no-brainer. To me, Glennon would remain the emergency quarterback. So that's where I would come from on that criticism a little more measuredly.
I don't like this that much, so I don't know why I'm doing it, but I'll do it anyway. It's the FPI chance to earn the number 1 pick, and the Jets obviously lead the way at 68.7. The Jags are 30.8. But then after that, the next highest teams are 0.2.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, that's what I told you. The Jags
it's a Jets-Jags battle.
Well, the Jags can afford for the 2 pick. Now, granted, if you're playing that game, for the 1 pick. And now I do think, by the way, the further along we go in the season, I think more and more feet go into the camp of losing. Because we've had that argument.
Oh, sure.
What
now,
fans think.
Now, yeah.
When we argued that 2 or 3 weeks ago, it might have been a little different tenor. But now I think even smart Jaguar fans and casual and see the benefit.
There's nothing to gain.
Yeah, benefit that they're, my son I consider to be one of those until the bitter end, and he's to the point now that, fist pump if they lose.
Yeah.
Something drastic has to change. Right?
As are both my boys.
Yeah. Let me ask you this.
Which is really sad. But again, I don't blame the fans. I blame the organization.
100%.
So
right. Well,
it's not our fault.
Of course not.
This is what you've presented.
Absolutely.
So we are on board.
And I hope for Shad Khan.
And shame on you for making us feel this way because it's conflicted to the hardcore fan.
Sure,
it's tough.
It's conflicted to sit in this chair. It's conflicted to talk to a conflicted group of people every morning.
We're all conflicted.
Well, some confliction going around.
Beef's always had some confliction.
There's no doubt about that.
I'm hugely conflicted.
Yeah. Do you concur, Beef?
I once had aerophagia.
I do, Dr. Connor.
But I beat it.
You had aerophagia.
I beat
I
it,
have
though.
it right now.
I beat it. I used my terrible disease of aerophagia to try and get the Augusta invite. Never came, so I got over it.
Didn't work.
I wish for Shad Khan, Dan,
sorry.
that he could experience what this town really is like in backing a sustained winner. Because the atmosphere around, like we had Tom on the other day. Tom Coughlin has won Super Bowls as an assistant and as a head coach. And even after all this time, says the most electric atmosphere he has ever been around was before that AFC Championship game. That's right here in Jacksonville. Shoulder to shoulder, 72,000 people.
Yeah.
An hour before the game started. That's what Jacksonville craves. And a winning product would do that. And we're a long way from a winning product, and it strikes me as absolutely crazy to even be mentioning this. But as I look at the NFL schedule this weekend, you know what the most compelling game is?
What's that?
Cleveland, Tennessee.
Yeah.
Got two really good teams posturing for playoff position and otherwise.
Yeah.
Now, Dan, I'll remind you that in the 16 and 17 seasons, not that long ago,
right,
the Cleveland Browns went, you ready for this?
Yeah.
1-31.
Mm.
They went 1-15 and decided to follow that up with 0-16.
Ooh, don't say that.
Now, I don't care how this season finishes. We're not that far gone. And here are the Cleveland Browns 3 years later. Dan, I have a question. Pull up their roster, their year. What did they do? Well, they hit at the top of the draft with their picks. Myles Garrett and Baker Mayfield.
Baker to a point.
To a large point to this degree.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the joke of the sequential order of Browns quarterbacks. He's at least given them a
he stayed there
consistency.
A couple years.
Right.
Denzel Ward, by the way, was also chosen.
Yeah, they've drafted well at the top, but Nick Chubb in round 2. They've also they've been aggressive when it comes to veteran player acquisition. They roll the dice on Kareem Hunt. They went and got Jarvis Landry and Odell Beckham Jr.
Yeah.
They signed Austin Hooper last offseason.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know for sure how the entirety of the offensive line has been built, but I know Jedrick Wills is obviously a first-round pick from this year.
Oh, Treader they got from Green Bay.
Conklin they got. I guess
from
what I'm
Tennessee.
saying is this GM that comes in, while we all focus in on the draft, as you look at how the Browns have been constructed, they've done it in large part by veteran player acquisition, from Olivier Vernon to Sheldon Richardson to Jack Conklin to Beckham to Landry. I mean, almost the entirety. But what they have done is hit on those first rounders, those high picks.
I used to not do that.
Correct. Where would they be without Mayfield, Chubb, Garrett, and Ward?
Or would they be without Trent Richardson and Kiki Mingo?
I think we found that out. Don't look now, Dan. And statement is, statements come in various sizes.
Yes.
Little JU basketball has a chance to kind of have a little statement game today.
Okay.
JU's 3-0.
Yep.
And they've got this transfer from Xavier, who's been very good. Been giving them like 17-8 in their 3 wins. They've won their games. They haven't been squeakers, not buzzer beater wins. Mm-hmm. And they go to Athens. They play Georgia. It'll be on the SEC Network. Georgia beat FAM by 10. I know this is a dangerous game to play. You played it with Boston College in Florida, and that didn't come out like you would think. And I'm not by any means predicting a JU win, but I'll check in on that this evening and see how the Dolphins can do.
Cheer for Jacksonville.
Never forgot some of those cheerleaders they had over there at JU.
Yes, sir.
We'd sit in the front row of the Coliseum. This is like a reminiscing Friday. We'd sit in the front row of the Coliseum and watch Derek Fisher come in for UALR and light them up.
Oh, the fish.
I remember watching that guy in college.
Yeah, he was good. He was good.
Guy's a gray-bearded NBA coach.
Gators and Vols tomorrow. Chance to clinch the SEC East.
Yeah.
It's tremendous.
Yeah, it really is.
It's fantastic, and they are playing a team that has lost its fan base. I mean, they are.
Yeah.
They are. I thought Tennessee was a little bit better. What did I tell you back in July?
Yeah, you don't trust them.
Did you save the clip, Beef? You wanted to. You wanted to hang me when I said the Vols were terrible. The Vols were no good. Don't say that. Oh, we're going to, well, they've lost 5 straight. They had won the first 2 this year, which gave them an 8-game winning streak. And everybody was all gung-ho. And I was like, we've seen this act before, this song and dance. It's not to pile on Tennessee.
No.
It's just that's where they are, and they have to pull out of it. And the only way they're going to pull out of it is by finding the quarterback. Now, they may go tomorrow without Guarantano. They may go with the kid, Harrison Bailey, and see what he can do.
You know what's dangerous for sports fans that have been around who have spanned generations?
What's that?
We give this gravitas, they'll be back because.
Yeah.
Oh, they'll be back, they're Texas. Oh, they'll be back, they're Nebraska.
Yeah.
Oh, they'll be back, they're Tennessee.
They're FSU.
They're Miami.
Yeah.
But, listen, I firmly, if Georgia and Florida are both top 10, Tennessee is not going to be back anytime soon. I don't care who the coach is, but they got to get the right coach. They got to get they got to go get their Urban. They got to go get,
This guy's not going anywhere until at least next year.
I know. I'm more of the point is it doesn't look like Jeremy Pruitt is the right coach either. He's just the latest stumble bum who, from Derek Dooley to Butch Jones to come through and leave you wanting more. Butch Jones beat Florida and Georgia in the same year and didn't win the East.
Yeah.
That sums up Tennessee football.
Well,
the 1 year that you had.
What sums up Tennessee football is you got Philip Fulmer in there, and they got spoiled, and so their expectation got high, and they kind of pushed him out. And then they brought in Kiffin, Dooley, Chaney, Jones, Hoke, Pruitt.
Kiffin threw him off. If Kiffin had stayed there and put his foot in and developed, Tennessee would have could have stayed a 10-win team.
Yes.
And he was matured along the way. Of course, he
probably now he might have had some stumbles because he needed to grow up.
100%.
And when he went to Tennessee, he was I'll trade punches with Urban Meyer,
right?
And it wasn't
right. You weren't ready yet.
No, he wasn't ready.
Yeah.
And then he hightailed it to SC, and then he had all kinds of issues and got
fired on the tarmac.
On the tarmac, and then they brought in Dooley, and that was a disaster. And then they brought in Butch, and that wasn't awful, but it wasn't any good.
It never hit its ceiling, the predicted ceiling.
Yeah.
I mean, you got a predicted ceiling in the SEC when it comes to the football season.
The Derek Dooley hiring, though.
It was. That
his
was not,
SEC record was just. Remember that? It was shockingly bad.
Yeah.
So
no fans at the college football playoff semifinals.
Yeah, that stinks.
Is there any surprise on your part that they didn't ponder moving them to states where they would allow fans, at least a limited amount, like we're seeing in some? It's very different.
I guess
I've come to think that the coronavirus mentality is based more than anything else on geography. It sure seems like Tennessee South is a lot more willing to fluctuate a little bit. I mean, go live in California right now, boss, where they'll shut your water off. You have more than 20 people over for a pound. I mean, point being, it's a lot more shut down in other places. And the college football playoff is at the Rose Bowl in L.A. And the Fiesta Bowl is in Arizona, and I don't know where exactly they are on their restrictions. But it has been a remarkable impact on sports having no fans for football and basketball.
Oh, man.
The whole concept of momentum is gone. The whole fear of playing on the road is gone. They just look like controlled scrimmages. There is no home field advantage. There's none. Other than the many hardship. Like Coastal may have one because BYU drove cross-country on a drop of a dime.
Mm-hmm.
But
speaking of college football, who's going to get the South Carolina job? I keep hearing Shane Beamer. Is that?
So they don't want Hugh Freeze, or he doesn't want them?
I don't know. I don't think they aggressively pursued him.
Why?
I don't know.
Shouldn't you?
Yes.
Would you?
Hugh Freeze needs to make peace with the commish and get all that worked out too.
Hugh Freeze had more than just like the character violations.
Right.
He had NCAA violations.
Yeah, that's the. So anyway, I keep hearing Shane Beamer.
Maybe it's a non-SEC Power 5 where Hugh Freeze emerges.
Yeah, Billy Napier is another guy. So we'll
Billy
see.
Napier's one of those.
He's that Louisiana.
Yeah,
he's done very well.
Yeah, it's just you wait. These guys, you get kind of where you're very cynical about taking the Louisiana, the Memphis, the East Carolina, that coach because he's been successful and trusting that he will be. I mean, Justin Fuente at Virginia Tech's a perfect example.
What do you do if you're Vandy?
I don't know.
And if you're a coach,
you know who I would let coach? Honestly, I mean this.
Yeah.
Sarah Fuller. I'd put a headset on her this weekend, and I would let her coach the team. I mean, the publicity that they would get, Hick.
Yeah.
If they let Sarah Fuller coach the football team for the whole game.
She'd be coach of the week.
They would get so much publicity.
Yeah.
She would probably be if they kicked off, she would be coach of the week.
They have
player coach, even better.
Like Steve Sarkisian, they have down as a
Why would anyone go to Vandy?
Will get a good job.
Yeah, you got to be an assistant who proves yourself at Vanderbilt. That's how it works.
You have about a 95% chance of failing if you take the Vandy job.
I wonder who the last former head coach at another school took the Vandy job.
Oh, it was a previous head coach?
Yeah. Of a big, I'm sure Bobby Johnson came from Citadel or something, didn't he?
Yeah.
But, I mean,
Steve Martin guy?
Maybe Watson Brown, Hick.
Yeah.
The forgotten Brown brother. Still doesn't seem like Watson Brown and Mac Brown are brothers.
Gosh, the Vanderbilt coach is just a.
Yeah, they've kept guys for a while, too.
By the
Jerry
way,
DiNardo, did he ever have a job
yeah.
somewhere else?
That's a good
Or was
one.
that his first one?
So this poor guy, this poor cat who takes the Vandy job, quick story, and then we'll wrap. So this guy, he's the interim coach, right?
Yeah.
And he's got to deal with all this stuff. And there's some internal stuff going on with the kicker and such. But anyway, he goes to do his coach's show.
Correct.
And so at his coach's show, there's this guy who's been the voice of the
23 years.
Okay, so you know the story.
Yes, I do.
Yeah, so the guy's been doing the Commodores.
He's been the play-by-play voice of
He's
Vandy.
Vic Hubert or
Exactly.
Gene Deckerhoff.
Correct.
So he shows up. They start doing the show. And this guy's first show, he's
The
the interim
interim coach,
guy.
yeah.
Nobody knows who he is.
Correct.
And we got Prosser Hicken guy drunk as a skunk.
Apparently.
Oh,
On something.
Well, yeah.
I'm just saying, I don't know if he's drunk,
Yeah,
but he's
yeah. Just slurring
he's
questions.
drunk or pilled out or
Gosh,
something.
let me ask you.
Asking the same thing over and over.
So anyway, right after that.
No, hold on.
Yeah.
They cut the show. They cut the show short after about 30, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt stepped in and said, "What?"
Yeah.
And pulled the show off the air, and it ended.
Did somebody I don't know.
No, they knew.
20 minutes in, go, hey.
Yeah, what's going on? Is he
Are
having
you
a stroke?
listening to the coach's
Yeah.
show? No.
Well, yeah.
Well,
Turn
put
it on. I think
Stop
literally
that.
you wonder if the guy was, if you're Vanderbilt, you might be, and you had no idea. Maybe they had an idea. The guy's been there 24 years with a problem severe enough that he's
Well, the
checked
reason why
into
we know he
rehab.
has a problem there exactly is because.
But that was kind of a force. They forced him to resign. They gave him the option, and good on Vandy for doing it that way.
Yeah.
Listen, you can resign and go check in somewhere.
Yeah.
And we'll support that decision.
Right.
But he's done as the Vandy. He won't. There's no going back.
No.
Yeah.
And he knows. He
Yeah.
was sad about it, but he knew that.
He'll be calling MTSU Blue Raider football in a year.
Hopefully.
Right?
Hopefully he gets well.
Absolutely, 100%. But at the same time, there are plenty of lines to draw no matter what it is you're battling and showing up to work in that condition like that.
I assume it was an alcohol problem, but I could be wrong.
Well, I think it's alcohol too. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
So that's but boy, it seems like it would have displayed itself at some point. You wonder what kind of I don't think you're going to go back.
Right.
Like if you were really respected and they loved you, but if that's been a problem you've been carrying around, you find those people, it's hard for them to carry continued respect from people.
Well,
because it shows itself.
There's a sense of relief
right.
that he's out because you probably have covered up for him.
There's probably some of that.
But anyway, so that's what happened to Vandy. We'll see who the new coach is there going forward. All right, let's do this. Let's break. Let's keep it rolling.
I'm going to
Vol calls coming up.
Yeah.
Friday 5-pack coming up.
Maybe,
lots going on.
Look, we should say what time we're scheduling ball calls. What should we do that? We do 8:15 or no? What do we do? The Friday 5-pack at 8
Friday
now?
5-pack at 8.
Yeah.
We just started doing that at 8.
Yeah.
All right.
Correct.
Just
About
started
12 weeks ago.
We can do Vol calls at 8:30. 30.
Yeah. And we come back at
8:30.
8:30 fall call.
And right now we're going to do caller number 5.
Yippee-ki-yay.
And you have to say
ball calls.
Vol calls.
And you know what?
No, you don't.
And we need the hour because it takes a long time to get this tin can and then the string strung all the way up to the mountains for that tin can.
It ain't easy. 641-1010. Beef, tell them what they're going to win.
Caller 5 right now, 641-1010. Going to get a lovely floral arrangement delivered to them by Kuhn Flowers. Call now.